All right, so picture this. You've got a big meeting coming up,
Hmm.
all about software performance testing, and you need to get up to speed, fast. Sound familiar?
Oh, yeah?
Well, today, we are diving deep into generative AI and
Yeah.
how it's revolutionizing the way we make sure those apps we all use are lightning fast and rock solid, reliable, no matter what.
It really is incredible how much this field has changed. We're going way beyond
Right.
just analyzing data now.
Yeah.
Generative AI actually creates data,
Wow.
simulating these complex scenarios that would honestly take forever to set up manually.
It's like building a whole video game for yourself.
Yeah, a hyper-realistic one.
Exactly. And I think everyone listening knows why this matters.
Oh, absolutely.
We've all been there,
Mm-hmm.
stuck on a website that's loading slower than, I don't know, a snail in January.
Yeah. Or worse, like you're about to check out on an app
Oh, tell me about
and
it.
the whole thing just crashes.
The worst.
It's not just annoying. In today's world, bad performance, that can really make or break a company.
Totally. I mean, slow websites, they send customers running to your competitors.
Yeah.
And a crashing app, forget it.
Yeah, that's like reputation damage that you might never recover from, honestly.
Yes.
I mean, think about it. There are cases where
Yeah.
poor performance could even have, like, safety implications.
It's serious stuff. So smooth, reliable performance. It's non-negotiable. So how do we get there? How do we make sure our apps are up to the challenge?
Well, that's where generative AI comes in.
Okay.
It brings a whole new set of advantages to the table.
Like what?
Okay, imagine, like, being able to test your app
Mm-hmm.
with millions of simulated users
Whoa.
all hitting it at the same time. Millions! Millions! You don't have to scramble to find all these testers or, like,
Yeah.
build these giant lab environments.
Right.
Generative AI, it lets you really push your systems to the limit.
Okay, so it's like having a giant virtual stadium packed with beta testers,
Yes.
just like at your fingertips.
yeah.
That's kind of wild. But how do we know?
Right.
How do we know that these AI-generated tests are the real deal?
Well, that's where the realism factor comes in.
Okay.
Generative AI, it creates these complex scenarios
Uh-huh.
based on actual real-world data.
Oh, interesting.
So you're not just throwing random traffic at your app.
Right.
It's learning from how real users behave to make those simulations way more accurate, more nuanced than, like, the old ways of doing things.
Yeah.
The traditional testing, that often uses, like, simpler scripts.
Right. Simpler, more predictable.
Exactly.
So it's not just about, like, the sheer number of users. It's about mimicking that unpredictable, kind of chaotic way that real people use software. But what about those situations where you don't have, like, tons of user data? Like you're testing a brand new feature.
Yeah.
What then?
That's where synthetic data comes in.
Okay, what's that?
Let's say you're building this new feature and you don't
Yeah.
have
Right.
a lot of past data to work with. Generative AI can look at existing patterns
Oh, okay.
and create basically realistic synthetic data that mimics how real users might use this new thing.
So you're like teaching the AI to think like your users before they even see it.
Exactly. This synthetic data, it's super useful for what we call load testing,
Okay.
which is all about seeing how your system handles these massive spikes in traffic.
Like Black Friday.
Exactly. You want to see how your e-commerce site's going to handle Black Friday? Generative AI can simulate that whole thing.
So you can find the problems, fix them before the real rush hits.
Yes. No more website crashes or, like, payment gateway meltdown.
At the worst possible moment.
Right when things are at their peak.
Yeah.
And the AI's in there analyzing all those metrics.
Yes.
Like response time and throughput.
Yeah.
To really zero in on the problem areas.
That makes sense. But what about things that are less predictable, like social media?
Oh, social media. That's a great example.
Right.
Say a company's about to launch a new feature.
Uh-huh.
They're excited, but also a little nervous
Yeah.
about how it might affect performance.
Especially if it, like, goes viral?
Right. Generative AI can simulate those scenarios from slow adoption to total viral explosion
Wow.
to help them understand how their platform's going to hold up.
Like a virtual experiment.
Exactly. Without actually releasing it to millions and risking a meltdown.
And they can optimize that user experience,
Ooh.
fix things before it even launches.
Make sure it's smooth, responsive, fun to use.
This all sounds incredible, but I gotta ask, Are there downsides? I mean, it can't be all perfect, right?
You're right. No technology is perfect. There are definitely things to consider.
Like what kind of challenges do companies need to be ready for?
One of the big ones is data quality.
Oh, okay.
These AI models, they're only as good as the data we feed them.
Makes sense.
If the data is biased or incomplete, the results won't be accurate. And we might miss some really important stuff.
So garbage in, garbage out. Anything else?
Well, yeah, computational costs are a factor.
Okay.
Training these AI models, running them, it takes serious computing power. And that can get expensive, especially for smaller companies.
So balancing those benefits with the resources?
Exactly.
What else?
Having the right expertise is key.
Oh, okay.
You need people who understand both performance testing and machine learning
Yeah.
to really get the most out of generative AI.
It's not just like set it and forget it.
Right. It takes
Right.
planning, analysis, expertise.
Okay, so that human element is
Crystal.
just super important.
Definitely. And it's important to remember generative AI is still evolving.
Always changing.
Yeah, the tools are improving. There's so much room for innovation.
It's exciting. We're just at the beginning of what this tech can do. What are you most excited about for the future?
Ooh, that's tough. I'm fascinated by the potential for even more sophisticated AI systems. Imagine AI that can learn in real time, constantly adjusting to changes, finding those bottlenecks
Yeah.
the second they pop up.
Like a built-in guardian for your software.
Yes.
Yeah.
Always monitoring, optimizing before things even have a chance to go wrong.
That would be incredible.
I also think we'll see generative AI way more tightly integrated into the whole development process.
Okay.
Imagine these AI tools built right into what we call a DevOps pipeline.
Hold on. For those of us who aren't, software engineers, what's a DevOps pipeline?
Oh, good point. It's basically like a set of practices that automates how software gets from like the developer's keyboard to the end user's device,
Gotcha.
making that whole process faster, smoother, more reliable. And a core part of that
Yeah.
is what we call continuous integration and continuous deployment, or CI/CD.
Okay.
It basically means changes are constantly being integrated and tested automatically.
Right.
So integrating AI-powered performance testing into this pipeline,
Yeah.
that could be huge.
So instead of waiting till the end to test, it's like performance becomes part of the process from the beginning.
Exactly. It becomes part of the software's DNA.
Mm.
So you're preventing problems, not scrambling to fix them later.
We've talked a lot about testing software after it's built. What if we could use AI to design software that's just inherently high performing from day one?
Oh, that's a cool idea. Imagine training AI on tons of performance data, not just to find problems,
Yeah.
but to suggest how to structure the code,
Oh,
choose the best algorithms, to create architectures that are just built to perform.
that would be amazing. It's like giving the AI all the building blocks and saying, go create the best, most high performing thing you can.
Exactly. It'd be a total shift in how we think about software development.
Yeah.
Performance wouldn't be an afterthought. It would be baked in.
Mind-blowing. What other breakthroughs are just around the corner with generative AI? I can't wait to see.
I know, right? It's what makes this field so exciting. We're constantly pushing the boundaries.
Okay, so we've covered a lot. Benefits, challenges, real-world applications, and the future of generative AI in performance testing. What are some key takeaways for our listener heading into that big meeting? What should they be thinking about?
I think the biggest takeaway is this. Generative AI, it has the potential to revolutionize how we test and optimize software.
For sure.
It gives us scale, realism, predictive power like we've never seen before.
Powerful stuff.
But, like we talked about, it's not a magic bullet.
Right.
Companies need to think about that data quality, the costs, and the expertise.
Yeah.
They need to really use this tech effectively.
And maybe even more importantly, they need to stay flexible, keep learning.
Absolutely.
This field is moving so fast to really succeed.
Yeah.
You got to stay ahead of the curve.
Couldn't agree more. We're just at the beginning of the generative AI revolution. Who knows what's next?
So before we wrap up this deep dive, what does this all mean for our listeners, the folks out there building software or just fascinated by tech? What should they be walking away with?
It all boils down to this. Generative AI is changing how we build high-performing, dependable software. It's making testing faster, more efficient, more accurate than ever.
And what does that mean for the rest of us?
Better experiences for everyone.
Right.
Apps that work smoothly. Less frustration.
Love it.
It doesn't matter what you're building, generative AI can help you make sure your software is ready for anything.
It's all about creating software that's not just functional, but a joy to use.
Exactly. And as generative AI keeps advancing, I think we'll see even more ways it's used to, like, blur the lines between what's digital and what's real.
We've covered so much today.
I have.
Benefits, challenges, real-world examples, and the future of generative AI in performance testing. Hopefully, you've all enjoyed this deep dive, walked away with some new knowledge, maybe even a few aha moments.
Remember, the future of tech is being shaped right now.
Yes.
Stay curious, stay informed, and who knows? Maybe you'll be the one to create the next mind-blowing app that changes everything.
Awesome. Thanks for joining us for the deep dive.
Thanks for having me. You're right, no technology is perfect.
Right?
There are definitely things to consider
Okay.
when it comes to generative AI.
Like what kind of challenges
Okay.
should companies be ready for?
One of the big ones is data quality.
Data quality, okay.
These AI models,
hmm
they're only as good as the data we feed them.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense.
If the data is biased or
Oh.
incomplete,
Right?
the results just won't be accurate,
Right. Right.
and we could miss some really important things.
So garbage in, garbage out, basically.
Really?
What else? What else should we be thinking about?
Well, computational costs, those are a factor.
Okay.
Training these models, running them,
Hmm.
takes a lot of computing power,
Yeah.
and that can get expensive.
Especially for like smaller companies.
Yes, very for smaller companies.
So it's all about balancing like the benefits
Mhm.
with the resources you have. Okay, what else? Anything else companies should be thinking about?
Having the right expertise
Oh,
is key.
expertise. So like people who really get this stuff.
Yeah, you need people who understand performance testing and machine learning
Right, right. Both sides of it.
to really get the most out of generative AI.
Okay, so it's not just,
It's not like a set it and forget it thing.
right. It takes work. It
It takes planning,
Mhm.
analysis,
this
expertise.
human element is still super important.
Absolutely.
Okay, good to know.
And it's important to remember that generative AI,
Yeah,
it's still evolving.
constantly changing.
Yeah, the tools are getting better. There's so much room for innovation.
That's what makes it so exciting. It feels like we're just at the beginning
We are.
of what this technology can do.
Yeah.
So, what are you most excited about for the future?
Ooh, that's a tough one. Um, I'm really fascinated by the potential
Yeah.
for even more sophisticated AI systems.
Okay, like what?
Imagine AI that can learn in real time,
Real time. Wow.
constantly adjusting to changes, finding those bottlenecks
As they happen.
the second they pop up,
That would be incredible.
like a built-in guardian
Right.
for your software.
Yeah. Just always monitoring, optimizing before things even have a chance to go wrong.
Exactly.
It's amazing.
I also think we'll see generative AI much more integrated
Oh.
into that whole development process.
Interesting. Okay.
Imagine these AI tools
Hmm.
build right into
Yeah.
what we call a DevOps pipeline.
Okay, hold on. For those of us who aren't, software engineers,
Yeah, good point.
what's a DevOps pipeline?
Oh, sure. It's basically like a set of practices
Okay.
that automates how software gets from like the developer's keyboard
Mm-hmm.
to the end user's device, making that whole process faster, smoother, more reliable.
Okay.
And a core part of that
Yeah.
is what we call continuous integration and continuous deployment, or CI/CD.
CI/CD. Okay.
It basically means code changes are constantly being integrated and tested automatically.
Automatically. Wow. Okay.
So integrating AI-powered performance testing into that pipeline,
Yeah.
that could be huge.
So instead of waiting till the end to test,
Right.
it's like performance becomes part of the process
Yes.
from day one.
Exactly. It becomes part of the software's DNA.
Okay. I like that.
You're preventing problems,
Yeah.
not scrambling to fix them later.
We've talked a lot about testing after the software is built.
Right?
What if we could use AI to like design software,
Oh, that's a really cool thought.
right?
Imagine training AI
Uh-huh.
on tons of performance data,
Yeah.
not just to find problems,
Right.
but to actually suggest how to structure the code.
Like the AI's telling you how to write it.
Yeah. Suggest the best algorithms, create these architectures that are
Mhm.
just like built to perform.
That would be amazing. It's like giving the AI the building blocks and
Yeah.
saying, go create the best, most high-performing structure you can.
Exactly. It'd be a total shift in how we think about software development.
Right.
Performance wouldn't be an afterthought. It would be baked in.
Mind-blowing. I mean, what other breakthroughs
Yeah.
are just around the corner? It's incredible to think about.
I know is what I love about this field.
Right.
We're constantly pushing the boundaries.
Okay, so we've covered a lot.
But
Its challenges, real-world examples, and the future of generative AI in performance testing.
it's a lot.
For our listener, heading into that big meeting,
Yeah.
what are some key takeaways? What should they be thinking about?
Well, I think the biggest takeaway is generative AI has the potential to completely change how we test and optimize software. It
Yeah.
gives us this scale, realism, and predictive power like we've never seen before.
It's powerful stuff.
But, like we said, it's not magic.
Right.
Companies need to really think about that data quality, the cost,
Yeah, yeah.
the expertise they need to use it, right?
And maybe even more important, they need to be flexible.
Oh, absolutely.
Keep learning. This field is moving so fast.
It really is.
You got to stay ahead of the curve.
Couldn't agree more.
And really succeed.
We're just at the beginning of this whole generative AI revolution.
Right. It's exciting.
It is. Who knows what's next?
So before we wrap up this deep dive,
Okay.
what does this all mean for our listeners out there? The folks building software or just fascinated by tech?
Right.
What should they be walking away with?
It boils down to this.
Yeah.
Generative AI is changing how we build high-performing, dependable software.
Okay.
It's making testing faster, more efficient, more accurate than ever before.
And what does that mean for the rest of us?
It means better experiences for everyone,
Right.
apps that work smoothly, less crashing, less frustration.
That's what we like to hear.
It doesn't matter what you're building. Generative AI can help you make sure your software is ready for anything.
It's all about creating software that's not just, functional.
Right.
It's a joy to use.
Exactly. And as generative AI keeps getting better, I think we're going to see even more ways it's used to, like blur the lines between what's digital and what's real.
We've covered so much today.
We
The
have.
benefits, the challenges, real-world examples, and even what the future holds for generative AI and performance testing.
A lot.
Hopefully you enjoyed the journey, walked away with some new knowledge,
Absolutely.
maybe even a few aha moments. Remember, the future of tech, it's being shaped right now.
It is every day.
Stay curious, stay informed,
Yeah.
and who knows, maybe you'll be the one to create that next mind-blowing app that changes everything.
It could be you. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for joining us for the deep dive.